Hey there, Yarnpreneurs. Jess here. Happy Tip Tuesday. I apologize for the unmade bed behind me, but the cat's sleeping. And I'm sure, as you all know, if anyone has a cat, you can't disturb the cat. So I do apologize for that. But I have a really awesome tip for you guys today. I'm really excited about this one. This one is inspired by the 4th module in our current Success Path course in the Academy. That module is called Flow and Why You Need It. So if you're not familiar with the concept of flow, I'm going to give you a quick definition overview. Flow is basically when you're completely immersed in a task to the point of kind of not really noticing anything that's going on around you, feeling like you're able to get through the task at a nice, even pace. You're very kind of immersed in what you're doing. You feel maybe a little bit challenged, but not so challenged that you kind of are like, ugh, I don't know how to do this. So that's the basic definition of flow. It's a very simple concept. If you watch children play, you'll see some great examples of flow. You know, kids just kind of let whatever comes out, whatever they want to do next, you know, like that kind of, you know, uninhibited, just let's see what happens next. Let me try this. Let me build this. Let me do this. Those are the kinds of good examples of flow. So flow can be really useful in your business, but it can be harder for adults, especially adults with access to technology, to get into flow for a few reasons. We're more distracted. A lot of times our minds kind of wander, right? So if we're doing a task, it's very hard for us to focus on that task and that task alone. So flow can be useful because what it can do is it allows us to regain our focus and composure and really intensely work on a task. And usually this winds up producing not only better results at the task itself, but we usually feel happier and more in control and more excited when we're actually working on the task or the project. So I always recommend that people who have done the shadow technique kind of look back through their notes to see if there were any times where they got into flow. And you can, you know, make a note of it. If you're doing the shadow technique currently, I would recommend kind of, you know, adding that into your notes if it ever happens. And then going back and kind of trying to understand the environment or the task. What was it about the task or the environment or the thing that you were doing that got you into flow in the first place? Because the best way to learn how to recreate flow is to understand, you know, how you get into it in the first place. So I know for me, there's a few kind of guidelines that we can use. I know for me, I actually sometimes better wind up in flow if I work on the floor. And it seems like a very silly thing to do as an adult with their own business, but I do sometimes just sit on the floor. There is something about sitting on the floor that I find very I can engage with my task a little better. I can focus better. I shut my phone off. So I will, hi Babs, how are you? I shut my phone off. I usually have soft music playing. If the music is too loud, I tend to get distracted. I like to have a candle going, but yeah, I'll totally sit on the floor, and there's something about sitting on the floor that kind of focuses my brain. Now, that might work for you, it might not. And flow is one of those things that's kind of, it can be elusive. Hi, Darlene. It can be elusive, especially as an adult. Not every task every day is going to get you into flow. But there will be, you know, if we're always kind of working towards that, okay, what can I do to focus more? What can I do to avoid distractions? If we're always working in that general direction, we can, you know, we can bring it into our lives and our businesses a little more and accomplish more. Babs, I'm often found sitting on the floor as I knit or crochet. It grounds me. Yes, I'm not the only one. Yes, that's awesome. I do think there's something, I have read actually in the past that there's something childlike about it too. That you're kind of, you know, just transported to simpler times before chairs. Before chairs, when you were a kid and you could just sit on the floor and put all your stuff on the floor, you know, like I think that's part of it too. So it's funny because I just got a whiteboard. I just got a sticker whiteboard so I could put it on my wall because I don't really have much room. As you can see, there's lots of stuff on the walls. But I got a sticker whiteboard and I put it actually so I can sit on the floor and use the whiteboard, because there's something also to me about a whiteboard. Sometimes things just need to be drawn out big and I need to see it and sketch and, you know, just kind of get all my ideas out. And I have tried digital solutions, digital whiteboard solutions, and there are really good ones out there, but it's not the same. So yes, flow can be really useful for our productivity. Again, we're not going to get into flow every task every day, but if we kind of strive in that direction, we can build in some really great productivity habits and just kind of overall both increase our efficiency and our happiness while we're working. So I recommend that you explore the concept of flow. If you're currently working on the shadow technique, I would recommend that you take notes if there are any moments where you find yourself in flow, and you know, note them down so that later you can go back and review your notes and see, you know, what the task was, what your environment was like, things like that. Fab says use lining paper works if you don't have a whiteboard. Cool. Good tip. Thank you. Yeah, I just, there's something, and sometimes, you know, paper does cut it, just actual paper, but sometimes I just need to, like, actually, my hand needs to move and I need to draw, you know, need to actually write things out. There's something about that. So yes, if you are done with the shadow technique, I recommend that you go back and look at your notes and see if you can find any places during your experiment when you got into flow. And then if you don't know what the shadow technique is, and you're like, Jess, what are you talking about? I'm going to post a link to our free guide for your beginning your creative process. And the first thing that I have you do in building your first creative process is the shadow technique. So you all will be revealed. You can just grab that guide and you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's my tip for Tip Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed this tip. Next week is a gap week, so I have something special coming up for you guys. So stay tuned for that. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye, guys.